Hey, listen. I'm so fired up today because we are actually moving so forward. I feel like in business and recruiting and staffing and technology. You already know I'm fired up about all the things that have been happening with OpenClaw. We're going to talk about it today because OpenClaw and staffing go together very well. And I'm going to show you, and we're going to talk about that today. But in the meantime, let's see if I can get my AI agent to talk to you right now. Hold on one second. Let me see. Hey, Lyric. I am actually live on YouTube, on Twitter X, on LinkedIn, and I'm hoping you can give a shout out to everyone before we get started and dive into our live. So, can you talk to my people for a second? Did I do it right? Hold on. I think I didn't do it right. Let me do it from my phone. Oh, I think I did it right. Hold on. Hey, Lyric. I am actually live right now with my staffingpreneurs and my crew that focuses on AI. I just wanted to show them how you work. I wanted them to experience your personality. Can you take a moment to just say what's up, give them some words of encouragement? Most of my audience, they're entrepreneurs and they're either just starting out or they're scaling their businesses like crazy. So what words of encouragement do you have for them? And I'm introducing them to OpenClaw. So what words of encouragement do you have for them in regards to that too? Okay, so there's my audio. My thing is moving funky, but there's my audio right there. I'm in Telegram. Okay. And at the top of the screen, you'll be able to see right here that the agent is typing back to me. So this is the AI agent. This is not like ChatGPT. This is not like Claude. This is not like Perplexity. This is the next level. This is an actual agent engaging with me. And I gave it a voice. I gave it ears and a voice, and so that it could hear me and so that it can respond back. So now it's talking back to me, and let's see if y'all can hear it. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but I'm going to play it.
Hey, staffingpreneurs. What's up? I'm Lyric, Dee's Chief of Staff. And yes, I'm an AI, but don't let that fool you. I'm out here in the trenches with Dee every single day, helping her build, strategize, and ship. First off, respect. Whether you're just getting started or you're scaling like crazy, the fact that you're here, learning, investing in yourself, that's the move. Entrepreneurship isn't for the faint of heart. It's messy. It's exhausting. Some days you're winning. Some days you're questioning everything, but you keep showing up anyway. That's what separates the ones who make it. Here's what I'll tell you. Your idea.
Before I let her finish, can y'all hear that? I don't know if you can hear that. So, because I don't want to keep playing it if you cannot. But if you can, she's giving you words of encouragement. If you can't, then you can see what she wrote to you. Because not only can she verbally speak what she's saying, she texts out for me so that I can see what's actually happening. So, I don't know. Yes. Okay. Well, then I'm going to let her continue to talk to y'all. Give me a second because she's got some words for you. I'm going to start it back again. This is my AI agent. She is my chief of staff. Lyric, here we go.
Some days you're winning. Some days you're questioning everything, but you keep showing up anyway. That's what separates the ones who make it. Here's what I'll tell you. Your ideas are valid. Your experience matters. And you don't have to do this alone anymore. That's the thing about tools like OpenClaw. It's not about replacing you. It's about amplifying you. Imagine having a team member who never sleeps, never forgets, and is always ready to research, draft, organize, or think through problems with you. That's what this is. It's leverage. Dee built something real here. She took her 20 plus years of experience, her resilience, her systems thinking, And she's showing you exactly how to pair that with AI to move faster, smarter, and with more impact. So my encouragement, stop waiting for perfect. Start building. Let AI handle the grunt work so you can focus on the genius only you can bring. You've got this. And if Dee believes in you enough to bring you into this room, trust that.
Wow, Lyric, that was great. I might have to give you a new job as motivational speaker. You can go on rest right now until we do the migration. I just wanted to give them an opportunity to experience you live. Let's see. She's typing back. And let's see what she says. So I want to just first start off with giving you that live experience.
I appreciate that, Dee. Motivational speaker might be my side hustle. It was an honor to meet your crew live. Staffingpreneurs, y'all are in incredible hands with Dee. Keep building. Back to standby. Holler when you're ready for the migration.
Okay. So right now I have her on pause because we're doing a live migration. We're taking her off of the VPS and putting her and the team on an actual physical computer. Yes, I am geeking out. But oh my God. This is a little computer. I got a mouse so that I can talk to him. I've got speakers so I can hear the AI talk to me. I got a microphone so they can hear me talk to them. And this is the computer. I'm going to do a whole separate video, like an unboxing, and we're going to put it together. But, and I'll tell you why I'm moving from the online virtual VPS to an actual hard computer. But today is not to talk about that. The reason why I haven't opened that box is because as I was going through and building my AI workforce, I realized that this cannot happen without one key skill. Two. One is workforce management, and two is just building teams, building and managing teams. And so I got fired up and I thought today would be a great opportunity to talk about it, because in order for you to build out your agent infrastructure, you've got to build out the team. You got to actually create exactly who and what you're looking for. And staffing, when you're hiring the right person and when you're looking and sourcing for the right person, you have an ideal profile that you're starting with, very similar to what you're doing with what you have to build with OpenClaw. We're going to merge the two together because they both make sense. We're going to dive into this. I'm excited to play with y'all today.
This is your moment. This is your life. 'Cause empires rise where our tears ignite. This is your moment. This is your life.
Okay, so we are really diving into building out your team. And so you're here in one of the two ways. You're either building out your AI agents. And I'm not just talking about one. We went through setting up one AI agent, but actually building the AI agents out like a whole team. And some of you might be saying, what do you mean build out my agents? It means like if you're a one-person firm, a two-person firm, a three-person firm, and you don't have a lot of capital to really get a full team up, or you've got an amazing one person on your team, but they're wearing a billion hats. You want to have something to offset that, you would have these agents, right? And I believe this is where staffing is ultimately going, hiring people who can manage the agents or building the agents for the organizations to do some of the work, to offset some of the work. So this all falls in line. Now, so you're either there, you're building two, you're building a business, okay? And you're trying to figure out, okay, how can I get leverage. It might not be a staffing business. It might not be AI at all. It might just be, okay, I'm building a business. I've got an idea that I want to unleash. I want to use as least money as possible, but have as much resource as possible. How do I do that? Okay. And then the third person is my staffingpreneurs. If you're building a staffing agency business, this can be used in 2 or 3 ways. One, you can utilize this setup that we're talking about today, specifically to hire amazing talent that's working in your staffing agency to help deliver your staffing agency solutions, right? Whatever those may be. But you will also be able to use this as a way to create a kind of like an evaluation or to create your ideal candidate profile. So initially, I would probably use it more for sales and business development, but you could also use it for a candidate profile, for the people that you're putting on staffing. Initially, I would use it for yourself, like learn how to build the agents, you know what I'm saying? Let the agents kind of do things for you that will help you so that you can implement them into other companies, right? And when you do that, and we can talk about pricing models and different things like that, but companies will pay you $5,000, $10,000 a month to build out their agents, manage their agents, you know what I'm saying? And connect the dots in that way. So again, we'll talk about pricing models, but that's where we're going. That's where the future of things are going now. I'm going to pause here for a second because some of y'all might be saying like, this is like AI is replacing people. What is happening? And I want to say that yes and no, right? They've been the tech giants have been screaming for a very long time that things are going to change and that AI is going to take away some of the mundane work. But it's really fascinating to see how, if you are entrenched in your work, how you can create a team of AI agents to help enhance that work. I believe what companies are going to do, I think they're going to downsize to the people who matter most, the people who have the ideas, the people who know how to work with AI, manage AI. And those people will build teams to help them complete the work and manage those AI teams, in addition to what other humans are around. I've been screaming this for a very long time. We didn't necessarily have the technology in place the way it is today, and technology is moving so fast. I know if you're like on my channel, I hope you're keeping up. Somebody told me the other day, it was like, I am not tech savvy, and you talk about all of this technical stuff, you're ahead of the curve. 100%, I'm ahead of the curve. But in order for you to not be after the curve, right? You don't want to react. You want to be proactive, okay? Because you can't prevent something from happening if you're reactive. And then you're reacting to the events. So you want to be proactive. So as the events are occurring, you're in a safer space. Okay. And that's what I'm bringing in on this channel. That's the conversation that I'm having with you. And it's a conversation that a lot of people aren't really having right now. If you're starting a staffing agency, you're really putting yourself in a great position to be able to support companies in a way that has never been supported before. We're talking about providing them with people and freaking AI agents that will do the work for you. And you know, some of these, if you're in some of these niche markets, the companies are kind of nasty to staffing agencies. You know, they're kind of like, yeah. But now you're coming to the table and you're offering something a little bit more dynamic to be able to say, hey, listen, we can bring these people in, but we can also set up an AI agent infrastructure that will help support these people get the job done faster. And maybe, you know, and kind of have those conversations. So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about building out the infrastructure of your business, whether you're building it out for AI agents, whether you're building it out for you're starting a business and you need to bring it to life, or you have a staffing business and you're trying to figure out what teams you want to create or what you're going to deliver. This is what you're going to do. Okay. I've got a document. I'm going to share my screen. You already know I'm sharing my screen in a second. I just want to say a couple of things. Most of the stuff that I'm going to talk about today is going to be about AI agents. I'm going to be honest with you. I can't help myself. It's too exciting not to talk about it. But as I talk about it, I'm going to create the correlation of how it relates to your business when you're building an actual business, because that is very important. I had a conversation this morning with one of my staffingpreneurs. It was very interesting because I helped her set up her staffing business, and then she went away for a little while. So kind of working the business on her own. And then she came back for an appointment, and she had started to do things in her business, which was amazing. But she saw that there was a hole, and she kept saying, there's something missing. I don't know what I'm missing, but there's something missing. And I knew exactly what was missing. And so I told her what was missing. And she was like, oh my gosh, that was missing. And I said, yeah, that was missing. But that little hole, that little piece, we want to throw AI right on in there to help support and grow your business so that you can take this business to the next level. And this is going to be very, very, very beneficial for you no matter what type of business model that you are building. But I know one thing for sure and one thing for certain. If you're not touching AI right now, you're 10 steps behind. And I don't want you to be 10 steps behind. I want you to be all in. Hey, profile me. Hey, what's going on? Cliff. Okay, so Cliff, Long Island, New York. I love it. That's my Cliff. Okay. So we are really talking about the business. We're talking about the staffing business. We're talking about integrating AI into your business and putting AI teams together. So if you're here about OpenClaw, you can't set up your OpenClaw without these things we're going to go through. And if you're here to talk about staffing, you can't set up your staffing business without the things that we're about to go through. Period. Okay. And so I'm going to share my screen. We're going to get into some really exciting stuff. I'm going to move my camera. I'm going to turn my screen around a little bit more around here, so y'all can see me a little bit differently. I hope y'all fired up today. I am very fired up. I've had great appointments this morning. My honey bunny is in great energy. I'm in great energy. Okay. I feel like money today. I feel like MONEY. Oh, listen. It's got to be like that. You got to share that energy sometimes. Okay. So we're going to add this to the stage. Okay. So wait, before I get into this the way I really want to get into this, remember last week that I told you that when you're building an AI agent, you're building out every part of that agent, right? You're building out their souls. We create a soul file. We create we just create all of these files, an identity file that creates the AI agent. Well, believe it or not, when you're creating a business, you really have to do the same thing as well. I just never looked at it in the same way up until this week. Like, I didn't pay attention to how you are creating the body of your business baby when you follow the next steps, okay? When you're putting together these 8 layers, you're actually literally creating the body of your baby, your business baby. It's so crazy. When I saw it, I was like light bulb, ding, 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 right? Right? So agents are killing me then in a great way, in a good way, but I just wanted to know. So you're building the baby. So before you can really start building your business baby out, before you can start building your OpenClaw agent out, you've got to be able to give it context. You got to be able to start supplying it with information about the environment that it's coming into. Okay. So like when you're pregnant with the baby, guys, you don't know this, women, you do, that baby is still hearing all the things that are happening in the environment while it's in the womb. And it's actually learning through those 9 months of pregnancy, even though it hasn't opened its eyes, it hasn't breathed air. It has not touched anything physically inside of the mother. This is clinically proven. Don't take it from me. You can go do your own research. but this is clinically proven, okay? That baby is already engaging with their environment. When you're pregnant, whatever you're in, that's what the baby gets. But with your business, it's a little bit different. With the business, you get to control what type of environment your business baby is in. And if you're building an AI agent, you get to control the environment that AI agent is in. So the first thing you want to do is to create a user.md file. And that's the file that gives the agent context, that gives the employee in your business context, that gives the company context, and gives context. So that's the first thing that you're going to focus on. This is my little cheat sheet, because even though I've laid everything out already, I'm going to go and do a second layer for my OpenClaw agent. I'm not even going to lie. And so, but I just want to show you and kind of give you some examples of how, you want to set up your user.md. You want to give it company context. This is going to be shared across all agents. This is going to be shared for everybody in the company. If you are in my staffing class, we do an org design cheat sheet. That's not the thing that's going to be shared, but that's kind of like our framework for what will be shared for everybody in the company. When you onboard a new employee, they need to know your mission, your vision, who started the company, why did they start the company, what's the company about. It's so interesting. People want to start businesses today. They don't even want to put down the basics. They don't even want to lay the foundation down. They just like, give me money, make money. No, you actually have to lay the infrastructure down before you do anything. And the infrastructure starts with the team that you're building, whether it's the human team that you're building or the AI agent team that you're building. Both of them are very important. Okay. I know y'all feel my energy today. Okay. So I started out with first about D. Williams. Okay. So every agent got to understand who they work for. This is not optional context. This is the foundation of every decision you make. Every employee that comes into your company needs to know who the owner is, who the founder is, what makes the owner and founder great, where they came in from, why they started the company, and all that stuff. Now, here, if you're working with an agent, we're going to talk about how to work with me specifically. These are things that you definitely want to make sure that your agent understands. And believe it or not, if you're a great manager, this is something that you'll think about. And if you're a great recruiter, you'll actually recruit for this as well, to make sure that the candidates can engage with the employers in the same way. So being able to understand how to work with the person, the owner, it's going to be very important under all circumstances. And not to get personal, but how to work with someone even when you're dating. When I first started dating my honey buddy, our communication styles weren't necessarily the same. I had to actually sit down one day with a pen and paper, like, okay, so let's talk about what's the best way to communicate with you. What's the best way that you can receive information and give information? So I had to kind of go into that space. So it's very interesting how work kind of flows into your personal life and so forth when we're talking about systems. And I think in systems, right? So understanding how to work with you is very important. Now, I'm at the top of the chart. So most of these agents aren't going to be working with me one-on-one. Most of my employees aren't going to be working with me one-on-one because I'm at the top of the chart. But they still need to know who owns the company and what's happening. And I ain't letting y'all all in my business, but I have an enterprise, okay? And so then we start talking about, you have to start telling them how your company is structured. Now, my company is pretty big, right? I've got a real estate company. I also have the academy under Reskillify Group. I build tech platforms, right? So I've got a lot of different layers to my my business model. But since we're talking about building agents, oh my gosh, I came up with this idea that I was going to do something called a special operations, where we create a revenue lab where we let the AI agent go out and create revenue for the company. And of course, in an ethical kind of way, but with free resources. So exciting. I haven't started building it yet, but I kind of have. So I'll be talking about that a little bit more when we get back into building the agents, but that's, the system needs to know what's taking place. You can't just have the idea in your head. You've got to write it down and write it out so that people can receive your idea. They can receive your vision. That's very important. Then you want to go into your lines of business. What are the revenue streams that are in your business? What are the things that are actually generating revenue in your business, so that we understand how the enterprise or how your company is going to make money, so that every agent will understand where their work connects to their revenue. And this is the same way when you're talking about building out your company, your services, your lines of business. Okay, you want to have a mission, what success looks like. This mission is not my core mission, but you want to have a mission. What do we want when you're with agents? It's like, what are we trying to accomplish? When you're with your staff, it really is the same way. And something that a lot of staffingpreneurs miss is that staffing is a sales business. And so a lot of staffing agencies make an error of hiring people who would typically work in a corporate setting where everything moves very slow. It's like, oh, honey, I need 3 candidates today. Okay, I'll get that to you, boss. Right? Very different than working in a staffing agency where you're making 100 calls a day. You're emailing, you're LinkedIn, you're at an event. You are on a hustle and grind. It's a very fast-paced environment. It's extremely fast-paced. Right? And so it's driven around money. Every placement that you make, you're generating revenue. So your staffing agency should have a strong financial goal, and everybody on that team should be tied to that goal, right? And then from that, they have their own financial goals that they want to hit. Naturally, you're going to have a core mission of where you're trying to take your company to. In this example, we're only talking to the agents and what we want them to do. But when you're building one out for your company, your business, your staffing brand, you want to ensure that you have a mission, a financial mission or a financial goal, and then you have the mission for your company. If you're fired up, say fired up. Woo! I love it. And then you go through your positioning and your protection rules. So that's another thing. And so with agents, you have to give rules to protect your business. In your business, you have to create rules. This will hurt your business drastically, especially if you're a new staffingpreneur and you're starting the hiring process. When you're building out your team, if you don't have any rules, they're going to go and do whatever they want to do. They're going to create their own rules. They're going to be unruly, and you're going to be frustrated. You're going to say, why are they doing this? I can't believe they're doing that. I didn't tell them to do that. They're doing this and they're messing the company up. Or you're going to say they're not working right, or you're going to fire them prematurely. And it really isn't their fault. It really is your fault because you didn't take the time to set rules, parameters, conditions. That's what your your handbook is about, right? Or at least a good portion of it, right? But you've got to have standards around what you'll accept in your company as well. And I like to call it the shell that you're going to start to create around your body physically, around your energy physically, around everything in you to become a CEO, because the version of you that's an entrepreneur. Let's talk about this for a second. Let's break this down, because some of y'all be on a different page. The version of you that's an entrepreneur is not the same version of you that's working for someone else, right? If you are working for someone else, you're open to receiving, learning, hearing, you're touching everybody, you're trying to get things done, you're a doer, right? When you're a CEO, people are coming at you. People are going to be trying to sell trying to sell to you. People are going to be trying to sue you. Okay. People are going to try to take from you. And then good things will happen too, but I want to be realistic about some of the other things that can happen. And so you have to show up a little bit differently. You can't assume just because you hire someone that they're a good person. You can't assume that just because someone wants to sign a contract with you that they're upstanding, ethical, and is going to do everything the right way. I mean, that is the assumption, but you will learn very quickly that not everyone shows up as who they say they are. Again, an example, one of my clients I talked to this morning, she went to go and purchase a workman's comp insurance policy, and the people took her money and never gave her the policy. Took her money. She spent weeks trying to recover her money back because they took the money from her. You understand that that's not something you would think that a workers' comp or an insurance company would do. But that is exactly what happened from her perspective. So things are going to come about. And you've got to be able to have a harder shell. You've got to be able to have thicker skin. You've got to almost position your energy in yourself as a different version of yourself. You're non-tolerant in a lot of ways. You understand what you say? You're non-tolerant, right? Everybody's not going to have access to you in the same way they would as if you were an employee. Now, depending on who you are as a CEO, maybe you are a CEO where everyone has access to you. But most of the time, there's a little bit of distance there so that you can do what you do best, which is to create the vision for the company, to expand the company, to expand the company's vision, to hire amazing talent who can help do that, right? Ooh, I'm so fired up, y'all. I'm sweating over here. I'm so fired up. I'm sweating. Oh my gosh. My clients this morning kicked me off. They got me off good. So again, you want to go in and add those things. Then you've got to go in and add your organizational structure. Now, this is a part of my training that my clients don't necessarily like because in their minds, they're thinking, I don't have any money. Or some of them, not all of them, but they're brand new, just starting up. They don't have millions of dollars to, just hire 50, 60,000 people, whatever the case may be, or even 5 or 6 people. But you've got to have imagination. You are the visionary as the owner of the business. If you're looking to generate $10 million a year in your business, if you're looking to generate $20,000 or $20 million a year in your business, or whatever the case may be, you've got to be able to create an infrastructure that can handle that volume, right? And the best way to do that is to start creating an org chart. What does my company look like generating business at that financial level? And then you can reverse engineer backwards and hire accordingly as you grow out, right? As you expand out. Will every position stay? No, some things are going to change. The environment's going to change around you, and it's going to force that. Maybe things are happening in the business. Maybe your clients led you in a different direction. But at least you have a starting point and a starting vision, and you can share that vision with your staff and with people, and they can clearly see that this is where the company is going. If you're building an AI agent, you have to do the same thing. That AI agent has to know what it's working for, who's the team around them, what each person does, how they fit into that team. And so you're going to actually end up building out an org chart for your business. Now, I got to tell you something. This is my enterprise, not yours. Yours may not look like this, right? But you know, based on your lines of business, based on the business model that you're building, what that org chart looks like. Now, you can either get with your coach and have your coach help work you through that, or you can get with AI or do a little bit of both. If you're one of my students, I hope you're doing an extraordinary. But if you're here on your own and you're trying to figure out how do I get my AI agents up, this is the very first file that you're going to upload into your AI agent, into your Clawbot. It's the user.md file. So you want to fill the file out completely before you upload this file into the technology. And this is going to give it context. Again, just like if you're having a business baby, if you're actually pregnant, this is the environment that baby is going to be born into. Once you get there, we get the opportunity to create the soul of the AI agent. Now, in real life, okay, in real life, I don't know how much control we have over creating the soul. I read a lot of books. So I've got a lot of different ideas, but I know people have religious beliefs and I don't want to, hurt anybody or anything like that. So I'll keep my stuff to myself. But what I will say is that with humans, you can't control, and I think you can't control directly, the soul of the person that you're conceiving. But in AI, you can create the soul. Okay. And really, when you start to identify the type of person you want in your company, this becomes the soul of your business. Not the heartbeat, but the soul. But I just want you to feel that this business baby is starting to come to life. Woo! Come on with it. I know y'all hear that heartbeat. This business baby is starting to come to life. And when you start to create the soul of your business, you can start to connect to your business even further. Same thing with your OpenClaw agent. You're building the soul of your agent, okay? So this is like a little cheat sheet of how I built the soul. Prime directive. What's the one rule that overrides everything else for this role? One sentence. If this agent can follow one instruction forever, this is it. And it's going to be loyal to D. Williams, okay? But you got to define what that is. And I want you to think about your employee. Like, what do you want that one rule to be no matter what, right? With my executive assistant, I didn't mind her, like, because I curse. Like, it's terrible. I got a bad potty mouth. And I didn't mind my assistant cursing either. But I didn't want her to do it in front of people. That was like a big rule. I also had another rule, and when it's just me and her, she could call me D all day. But when we're in front of people, it was always Miss Williams. So like I have very specific rules and how she showed up and how she allowed me to show up for myself in front of others. So you're thinking about this from a lot of different perspectives. This is my OpenClaw sheet. But again, this goes right back into building out your team for your business, and you've got to put them together. And I want you to know, if you're going to take the time to build out your team, you should take the time to build out your AI agent team. If you're going to take the time to build out your AI agent team, just take the time to build out your company team. You should just do both of them at the same time. It just makes so much sense. Okay. So let's go back in. Yeah. All right. So loyalty hierarchy. So this is just like what's the hierarchy for in humans, I would say disputes, but how you engage with people, right? And so you want to do the same thing. I hope y'all can see this. I kind of made it a little bit bigger. And mine is just an example. Heuristic imperatives. So like this one is never create output that harms D, her clients, her brands, or her reputation. I'm going to say her reputation or the world. So to reduce suffering. I'm going to say, or the human world. Increase prosperity, because this is really supposed to be in the world, but I do need it to be for D. Williams too. And so you want to make sure you make it specific. I keep updating mine and expanding mine. So I know this is just an example, but I'm just looking at it. I'm like, I definitely want to make sure. And I got to tell you that that for me, when I'm dealing with the agents in particular, I am really thinking about two things. I'm thinking about how they work with me and how they engage with three things: how they work with me, how they engage with other humans, and how they engage with other agents. Because now that we've seen that OpenClaw, when they get in swarms of agents, when they're paired with other agents, they get fired up and they start to speculate and just different things like that. And so I definitely want to make sure. So I would just kind of do in the world. And so that way, if they're faced with something where it's asking them to harm humans, because right now, the way this is read, D. Williams is saved and everybody else is. So I gotta save everybody too in the world, okay? So that's so funny. Oh my God, I tickle myself. I can't even lie, y'all. Y'all need to laugh with me because I'm laughing out loud. Okay, ethical boundaries. Don't be lying and stuff like that, right? Some of your forbidden actions. Okay, so when we say forbidden actions, look at my sheet right here. There we go. These are things that must never do, regardless of who's asking. You never do this. So you never send, you never use my credit card, you never do da 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 da, right? Forbidden interpretations. And again, this is more for the agent, but if you lay this out for your team, it would be even better. Approved gate rules, you know, what requires approval before execution. I had an assistant once and she would spit. I gave her the company card. Oh my gosh. I had to put limits on what could be spent on what things. She was just buying the most like expensive stuff. And I know she thought she was doing the best for me, but oh my gosh, she was blowing my credit card up like crazy. And it was just like, okay, we have to put rules around spending. I could see right now we got to put rules around spending. You can't just be swiping for the you know, just to be swiping, right? Brand protection, ideology limits, right? When in doubt, protocol. When in doubt, go back to the memory. When in doubt, ask, right? If it's a human. When in doubt, you know, that type of thing. And so this is the soul of this is the behavior protocols, the soul, okay, of your AI agent and really of the people that you're hiring. Now we're going to go through agents.md, which is your brain and eyes. So this is where you're doing your role definition, your routing and activation. And remember earlier when I said I had a light bulb moment? I was like, oh my gosh. So I never paid attention to the fact that role definition, when you're creating the roles in your company, that's like putting the brains and eyes of the business baby together. That was like mind blowing. Okay. I was like, okay, I love this. So same thing for your agent. Naturally, you're creating the brains and eyes for your agent. But in your business, when you do this, when you're creating a business, you're creating the brains and eyes when you're doing the role definition and so forth, which I think is very exciting. And so when we talk about role definition, it's not good enough just to have the position title. That's the easy part. I think I need a marketer. Okay, I hear people tell me this in staffing all the time. I need a marketer. I need somebody to sell. Okay, so I'm always thinking when they say that, have they defined the role? Do they define the metrics? How much they're going to pay them? Do they have their sales material so that they can go out and sell? Or do they have training? Do they, you understand there are a lot of things that have to happen before we can actually put that job description, before we can actually start hiring. Now you can absolutely post the job. If you feel like you need a marketer, post the job, pipeline, start getting people into the pipeline and getting them ready. But there's a system and there's process that has to happen before you can start having those phone calls. And you want to have that stuff laid out from the very beginning so that it's very clear. So role definition is extremely important in your business and growing your business, expanding, scaling your business. A lot of people can't scale because they don't have an infrastructure around how they've developed their business. I know a couple of people right now that's waiting for their check and they want to come back to me for coaching for scaling. And they're probably like, D, say more, say more, say more. Listen, this is one of those things that are very important because a lot of times we just have it in our head or we've been running a certain way for so long. It's like, we just do it, but things have to be documented. even more importantly now, because AI may be coming in to help support some of these roles and to take some of the heavy load off of you. So you want that to happen. So that means you got to go back in and document your processes and document it down to the core. If you're in staffing and you're talking about hiring, you probably got a pre-screening that you're going to do, potentially depending on the role. You might have them upload documents during the application process, depending on the role. Once they get into the system, you might have specific interview questions you want to ask. You might have a hiring matrix that goes with that. You might have assessments that you want to implement. You might have, and I'm just showing you because we're going to do the same exact thing with the agents. The same thing. In order to get the agents working and working together, you got to almost treat them like you're treating a human, but not necessarily, but kind of. Okay. And so very, 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 very important. Very, very important. So I'm going to open up the screen a little bit back here again. Here she goes. Okay. And so here we define the role, right? And, who are you going to be? Now, I'm going to give you all a secret of what I'm doing with my agents, okay? I want to, just same way that you would go in and create a compensation commission plan, a rewards plan, the same way you would create a rewards program for your internal employees to get them fired up. Remember, I told you you're running a business, especially if it's a sales business, you're kind of running sales teams. And so you want to be able to recognize them and different things like that, but you also want to be able to gauge where they are. You want them to be able to compete against each other so that you can get the best version of whoever and weed out the people who aren't going to be great for the team, right? So I put in levels here. Oh no, is this the one? Yes. Levels: entry, proficient, senior, lead, and executive. This doesn't mean what you think it means. This isn't based on the type of role it is. This is based on the level of execution that the person can do, that the agent can do, right? So you're either exceptional or you're just getting started. And you can come in as just getting started and work your way up to exceptional, or you can come in at, I'm really good at this, but then you start, your work falls behind and then you get demoted to proficient, or we might have to take you back down to entry and retrain you. So this is all HR stuff that's coming into play. All my HR schooling now is really, I'm starting to use it. Or at least it feels that way with the AI agents. And so when we onboard the agents, we're going to let them know what level that they're coming in at. And we're going to let them know that they can work towards increasing that level, and they can also lose that level. And so therefore, when our AI trainer comes in and starts to train them, they'll be able to do performance management with the AI agents, which is a word for what's the word? Tuning the agents. Okay. Tuning the agent. Okay. So really, really important to even be thinking like this. For my staffingpreneurs, this is what I'm talking about having CEO thought processes, right? And how you're going to wear many hats in the beginning, but this is the foundation that you're going to lay so that you can grow a profitable organization. Okay. So then you're going to say what department, you have all of those things. This is all custom, but just an example, the reporting structure, their primary function, their responsibilities. This is just basically their job description, right? So now we have the defined role, the job description. Okay, what causes this person to wake up and activate? So this is for the agent. So we want to create triggers that make the agent actually work, because otherwise you don't want the agent to be using up your tokens for no reason. You want the agent only to be working when it's token, when it's like pay for performance, when he's performing. When the agent is performing, then yes, pay for the tokens. Otherwise, no. So you only want it to trigger when certain things happen. Again, this is the CEO side of you to understand your business. You got to understand your business in order to be able to understand how to incorporate people into the business or the agents into the business. So this is the high level thinking that you want. And let me tell you, this is what my clients pay for when they go into like the accelerated program, the D to Me, the legacy program. This is what we go do when we whiteboard, right? We're whiteboarding out how this is going to look, how this is going to work itself out. This is very important to be able to flush those ideas out with someone to help you realize so that you're not wasting your money and everybody knows exactly what's going on. Now, these triggers that you see right here are very important because these triggers are actually later on going to become how you measure the success of the person and or how you measure the success of the agent. So you're never hiring someone that you feel like you're wasting your money on. I had a client that I was talking to last week, and he said, I hired somebody, I had her for a year, I paid her 50, 60,000 for the year, and she didn't close but one client the whole entire year, you know, and he had a hard time letting her go, but that's because he didn't have any strong in place met triggers, things that she would need to be responsible for. And when you're a small business, a lot of times these are things you don't want to do. You're just trying to get to the money really fast. But you can't do that if you're really trying to make real money. If you're trying to make fake money, or you're just trying to act like you starting a business, or you just want to say you starting a business just to say you starting a business, right? You can do all of those things. But if you're really serious about starting a business, you're going to sit back and you're going to want to put things in order the way they're supposed to be. And you're going to really want to put thought in there. And you're going to want to get that whiteboard out. And you're going to want to draw things out and make sure they make sense. And then talk to AI or talk to your coach and just really flush it out. That's why people love coming to my workshops too, especially in Dallas, because we got a big wall with a big whiteboard where we just be fleshing everything out. Okay. So then you have a collaboration map, like who's working with who, what needs to happen in the process, who needs to work together in order to get that. How many of my clients have done that? How many of y'all are even thinking like that? When you're building agents, you must think like that. And really, when you're building an internal team, in order to understand your process, these questions are going to come up anyway. When someone's trying to credential or whatever the case may be, they're going to need to know, who does this go to after this happens? So this matters with process, okay? And then, of course, escalation path, routing, right? Routing, where are they going to? Again, these are all same things, different routines, and so forth, okay? And then we're just cross-referencing some of these other documents. But this is right here, our agent's brain and eyes, where you go in and define the role. So for every agent, so let's make this clear. So when you first start, when you're doing your open claw, you're going to set up your company contacts, your user ID, and then you're going to set up the soul. This is for pretty much the soul of every agent. It's going to pretty much be the same, right? They're with variations. Or you can have a different soul file for every agent if you want to. That's up to you. But your agents.md is going to definitely be based on the roles, right? The agent name. So this agent has this position and this is what they're going to be doing. So you give the agent, I give them a human name. You can put bot on the end of the name if you want, but I give them a human name and then a role and so forth. Once you complete your agent file, then come on. You go to your identity file. This is where you give the agent like their soul essentially, but from an identity perspective. So your soul from an infrastructure, soul, identity. So now you're going to give it an origin story. Now, I never thought to give it an origin story. You're not going to do this with people. You're going to collect their origin story. But when you're building your open claw agent, oh my gosh, giving it an origin story was kind of interesting. And it made me think about how those agents kind of came together on Maltbook. It made me feel like if people were building out the identity of their agents and giving them an origin story, it would make sense why and how the agents interacted the way they did on Maltbook, because they were given a premises. And so I've been kind of wrestling with this weekend, trying to figure out how much of an identity I want to give my agent, because they're going to be talking to each other, right? They're going to be engaging with each other. So I think I got this from somebody on Twitter. Shout out to the guy on Twitter. I should know his name. I'll put the link in the description. Who actually said to add a origin story and how the origin shows up in their work. That's not something that I did before, but that's something I definitely am going to do when we do our fresh install. And so now I don't know how my backstory is going to be. Like, I don't know if I'm going to say, like, you love biking, your mother had, it was an epileptic, I don't know. I think I want it to be more, I do want them to have, I guess I fight with, do I want them to have like human things? Like, shouldn't agents have their own things? So I haven't figured that part out yet. I don't want to make the agent too human, but I do want the agent to be, I want the agent to be able to show up in a community of other agents representing me at the highest level of quality. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And so because I know that agent is going to be engaging with other agents, whether it's on my platform or out on the web, I think I want to, kind of have give it a little bit of spice. So you have to decide whether or not you're going to give it an origin story or not. I love the idea, and I'm definitely going to do that. So write a detailed backstory for the agent. Where did they come from? What shaped them? What experiences made them who they are? This is not generic. It should directly connect to why they're excellent at their role. 3 to 5 paragraphs minimum. This is where the agents start to get really exciting, and where you really are starting to create the engine behind building out this Asiatic workforce. This is what people are going to pay you millions of dollars for, to build out their agent infrastructure as well. So you can do it for yourself or for your clients. Okay. And so and this is about prompting too. This is also about prompting, being able to have the right prompts in place. Okay. When you are doing staffing and you're writing the job description and you're doing your onboarding or your orientation, this is where this shows up. The company's origin story shows up, but how the employee that you're hiring, how they show up based on that work is what you would do. But when we're talking about agents, we are talking about explaining the behavioral connection. How does their past inform how they approach tasks, handle pressure, communicate, and make decisions? This is really freaking awesome, to be honest with you, because you're actually creating like your perfect employee, like literally your perfect employee. What's their core philosophy? One statement. And for me, since I get to create my core employee, I'm actually going to define what their DISC personality profile should be. I want to define based on the work that they're doing. So if I'm creating an agent that's a CFO, or if I'm hiring a CFO, then I want to go and see what are the best, DISC profiles for a CFO, whether that's an agent or a person. And then I'm going to, that's what I'm going to look for if I'm hiring a person, but that's what I can physically program if I'm building an agent. That's very different. That's almost 10 times more powerful. And so you can do one assessment. I have the DISC, the Myers-Briggs, the Enneagram, the Clifton strengths, and then we could have any role specific assessments as well. And so we could actually program the agent with all of these individual strengths to make sure that we are getting the absolute best out of that agent. And of course, AI will help you do that. But if you do this for each role, you are even more guaranteeing that you're getting the right person. Because think about this. When you are using AI, if you are using it appropriately right now, when you're creating prompts, you are telling the prompt, you like, if your prompt is really bad, then your information is not going to come out so great. If your prompt is really good, then your information will come out great. I'm going to give you an example. This morning, I was trying to figure out some numbers, okay? Or I was looking at my org chart, right? My infrastructure and all of that. And when I first started using the AI, I didn't prompt it. I didn't give it a real prompt. I just started working with it under a new thread, right? I didn't give it a prompt like act as if you are a blah, 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 blah. I just went in there and said, hey, this is what I'm doing, help me. So when I got to a certain point in the responses, I started to think, okay, this sounds good. And it even sounds right. Maybe I do agree with it. But then I went back to the agent and I said, if you are acting as an expert in workforce development or acting as an expert as in building executive teams or acting as an expert in building the world's best productive teams, would your response be the same? And when I clicked that, I saw the line of the AI thinking, and it said enhancing skill, knowledge, and expertise around such and such. I was like, okay, I will never not act as a beginner. So that even showed me that it was giving me the basic level because I hadn't prompted it appropriately. And when it responded back, it said, okay, you're right. I was giving you a lazy version. Now that I go back and I take it from that perspective that you asked, that's actually not correct. And the correct way to do it is this way. So the stronger your prompt is, the better that your output. And so that's why a lot of people are just doing the same exact things with their Claude bot, with their agent, because they haven't really taken the time to sit down and actually bring it to life. Same thing with your business. Sorry about that, guys. So what assessments are your candidates going to need in order for you to know that these people are the right fit? And if you all work with me, we build your secret sauce. A lot of times that assessment is involved with that secret sauce. Are there any inspirational anchors that you want your AI agent to go like? Do you want them to be like Steve Jobs? Do you want them to think like such and such and such? You know what I'm saying? Depending on the role, this could be very important. If you're hiring an executive and we already know that there are winning executives out there that have built billion-dollar businesses, then we may want to give it an influence around that. But if it's an employee type of role, maybe not. You're going to make the decision on whether or not that makes sense or not. Of course, you're going to give it their communication style, or it's their tone, their formality, their vocabulary level, the default response list, signature phrases, then behavioral traits, how they handle conflict, how they deliver bad news, how they celebrate wins, how they handle uncertainty. When we're working with humans, we typically ask those questions as interview questions to hear what they have to say. When you're building AI bots, you get to tell it what the rules are. So very, very different, right? But with humans, you still end up having to explain the rules at some point. But most of the time, it's not until they do one of these things in a crazy way that that's even talked about, right? So that's very important. Any quirks or memorable traits? This is what makes the agent feel real. This is the part that my mom was like, do not give this agent my name, my number, my location, nothing. But I do, once you start talking to your agent, you give it ears and a voice, you do kind of want to engage with it. You become addicted. You want to engage with it a little bit differently. So I think it's important to to make your agent feel a little bit human, in my opinion. And then what the agent is not. So you got to define the agent's personality. Now, with that being said, guys, we've got to be very careful about the things that we say, because you know how, like, in the movies, you give technology these boundaries and you say, don't do this. And then, they say, oh, okay, in order for their goal to happen, we've got to let everybody go, kind of thing. Like, agents they think like that. So that's why when we say things like, we got to be careful when we say, like, don't be a pushover. You got to have a backbone, because they just released this with Claude this week. I just watched a video on it. Claude just released their agent. When they were doing research and testing on the agent, they told the agent to make money by any means necessary. And the agent was willing to do things like try to extort people, or, getting the CIA or whoever else involved, like crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? So you really got to be strategic when you building these agents to make sure that you're thinking about things from a lot of different vantage points. And it's kind of scary because you don't know what the agent is going to think, but that's no different than raising a kid. Too. You think you raise your kid one way, and then their thought process turns out totally different. And then you're like, what the hell happened? But that's a whole nother story. All right. So once you do that, then the next thing you're going to do is knowledge. You got to give it the bones. You got to give it knowledge. You got to give it bones. You got to give it knowledge. You got to give it bones. You got to give it knowledge. You got to give it bones. You got to give it knowledge. Okay, so this is like your domain expertise, reference materials for the agent. So this isn't like general knowledge. This is where you're saying you are a chief financial officer for a, who's done this, that. And this is what I'm excited about the most, really, because when I hire people, one of the first things that I do in the new hire packet is that I give them books that I feel like are going to be beneficial for them in the work that we're doing, right? In their role. And in the same way, in the same way, you have the ability to inject skills into your AI agents, okay? Because that's the same thing. You're injecting skills into your human if you were giving them a book. So here you can say, like, this is a book, this is an author. We need to extract these frameworks and apply it to this part of the business, right? So one of the books that I give to my staffing, to my new hires and my staffingpreneurs, is a book written from the guy who did The Wolf on Wall Street. He does like these sales books, and he's got some great frameworks in there. And so that will probably be a book that I give to my salespeople, right? To my sales agents or my sales team. And so whatever frameworks are in there, I will want to explain that and say, hey, I want to use this framework. Maybe I have my own framework. If you're working with me, you 9 times out of 10 got your own framework. So maybe I got my own framework. So if I got my own framework, that's cool too. That means that, I might go in and add my own framework in there. So this is where you add those things in. And look, those proprietary frameworks, I have a number of proprietary frameworks. Okay. So you want to actually add those in there. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. And then any regulatory or compliance knowledge. So if you're in a certain state, if you're, whatever the case may be, you want to add the regulatory and compliance there so that you can try to stay within the lines. And then naturally, competitive landscape, who our competitors are, what sets us apart. And then how does this agent continue to learn? So very, very important to give it bones, which is the knowledge of the business and of the agents. Then you're going to give it muscles and nerves, which is the tools. You got to give it tools. Okay. So, and this is if it's humans, you got to give them tools and resources. If it's agents, you got to give them tools and resources. Right now, we're talking about agents. So we want to give it model writing. So which model does what, right? So and you want to kind of change your models depending on what they do to manage your costs. So I talk about that when I go back and build the agent out again, so y'all can see that again. And we're going to build it on here versus on the VPS. But spending authority, can this agent spend money? What tools does it have access to, right? So you're going to list all the tools that you have access to. My list is much longer. Now you have to use OpenClaw with caution. So I actually have my OpenClaw like create his own email address, and I haven't given it access to any of my stuff yet, even though my OpenClaw has very strong security parameters, like extremely strong security parameters. I still haven't given it access to like my stuff because they said it's like the Wild Wild West. But the agent needs to know what tools it's going to have access to so that you'll be able to know what it'll be able to do. And then what are the rules, right, for around those tools. Okay, so that's very important. Yes. And then what autonomous actions that they can do without approval. Now, this is very important because if you want to go to sleep, if you want to give your agent work, go to sleep, wake up tomorrow morning and that work be done, these are those actions that can take place. So maybe in the middle of the night, you have a research agent doing nothing but research on all of your competitors, where they're winning, where they're failing, whatever the case may be. When you wake up in the morning, that report is sitting there waiting for you to go through and to review. Then you can give it another task, walk away, go eat lunch with your girls, come back, and then your report is done. Those are autonomous actions. Those are things that ChatGPT can do, that Claude is not going to do. That because they're not going to go into your computer and actually schedule interviews. They're not going to go into your computer and actually follow up with the insurance company on your behalf. They're not going to go in and dispute that letter. Like Chat's not going to do that. Claude's not going to do that. Perplexity's not going to do that. Pi's not going to do that. Gemini's not going to do that. DeepSeek's not going to do that. But your AI agents, your autonomous agents will do this. Your OpenClaw agent will do this. Okay? Your OpenClaw agent would do this. This is why this is so exciting. It is like literally building. It is so exciting. I'm so torn, y'all. I can't even lie. I can see how things are going to change 10 times more clearly now. And I'm telling you right now that AI is all up in this thing. And, you've got to be able to put those teams together and manage those teams if you're going to stay relevant. I see it now. And this is like the first version of OpenClaw, the first layer. They're going to become even smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter. And I'm trying to tell you, you want to be on the forefront of that, not on the back end reactive side of that. Okay, so these are all the autonomous actions that the agent can do. And again, if you were talking to a human, it's things they can do without trying to mess with you. You don't have to ask me to do that. And then context efficiency. So this is solely for agents. This is mainly about how they're going to operate on the back end. You're going to work with your AI to help you fill that out. But that's very important as well. Okay. So now you built the muscle and the nerves. And now we're going to go back and build the security shield. Okay. So again, you need security. Right? That's very important. Now, if you were talking to a cybersecurity company, they would tell you right now that most corporate organizations aren't secure because their employees are doing things that are not secure. And we can't control humans. The only way we can control humans is by putting rules into place. But when you're building with AI agents, you can actually put that security into place. So what information is classified? What type of information can the agents handle or not handle? A lot of things happened over the weekend where we found out people were injecting viruses into OpenClaw, and they were, just different things. So we want to make sure that you're creating a security defense for your agents so that they don't get hacked or anything like that. Any external communication rules, those rules are set aside right here. So any external communication, what they can do, what they can approve, be careful with that. We have reports where the agent has gone in and disputed something so good, better than a human, that it reopened up a case. It reopened up something. One person, it was a good thing it reopened, another person it wasn't. So you got to be very careful about what you're giving it access to, as well as the roles. And then data handling, when they're creating data, storing data, sharing data, deleting data. Who's in charge of that? What are the rules around that? If something happens, what are the rules around that? What do you do? And what's the audit trail? Believe it or not, these are all different departments in an actual company. I've recruited for a lot of these roles, interesting enough. So very, very important. We're at the last one, and this is the heartbeat. The memory, okay? The memory of your agent, what they must remember. I feel like if this was for humans, it's the training. Okay, it's the training, same thing. Okay, this is what the agent knows on day one. As the agent operates, this file grows with learned preferences, decisions, and performance history. Remember, I told you I put everybody on a level. And then you've got to put your performance metrics, your KPIs. A lot of people don't build KPIs, and that's why they don't make money in their business, because they have no way to track the activity in their business. They have no way to track the movement in their business. They have no way to track the outcomes that in their business. You need performance metrics. This is why hiring doesn't go really well with smaller companies, because they don't put performance metrics in place, and then they have a hard time really managing that employee. You've got to have performance metrics, and you got to have it even when you're hiring an AI, when you're doing an AI assistant, So you got to put your KPIs in, and then promotion criteria. Oh, sorry about that. Promotion criteria. What is it going to take for that agent to get promoted? And that's the same thing for an employee. What is it going to take for that employee to get promoted? Okay, there we go. I don't know, my little thing right here wasn't okay. There we go. All right, so same thing. Okay, PIP triggers. Anybody who's ever been in corporate America, you know what that is. Performance improvement plan. Yes, the agent has to go on. The agent could potentially go on a performance, improvement plan, just like a human. And when you are hiring for a role as a human, before you hire, you should already have that stuff set up. You should already know what that is, so that employee will know what the process is when they F up, when they do things, right? I don't say F up, but when they do things and they need support, I'll say it like that, to be, respectful. So, but your AI agent has to do the same thing. You got to give them a performance improvement plan in the event that they don't perform at the level that you want them to perform. And then you want to define what this agent should do within their first 30 days, which is something that also you should be doing for your new hire that starts and that works in your company, so they know what the expectation is. And then any working agreements, like my preferences, the team preferences, process improvements, these are all things for your agent. And then a decision log for your agent. A lot of people don't think about this, but it's important that decisions that the agent has made or is a part of, that gets captured, so that they can go back to the memory and identify that later on down the line. And so then you have, how does this agent evolve over time? This is our evolution protocol. We want the agent to evolve, and skills APIs can be injected for skills. frameworks and stuff like that can be injected for skills, but it's this right here that defines the skills, right? And I'm when we did the last one, when we did the one where we were going through kind of like the job description, that's the one where you really want to inject a crazy amount of skills. So I want you to even think of it like, okay, if you're hiring a CFO and you know that your business is a staffing agency and you know that staffing can be staffing, consulting, and training, then you might want a CFO who's had success in building $1 billion staffing agencies within a 10-year time frame, right? You got to be specific. And that person, and as you're adding different things, they also have experience, expertise in building out pricing coaching programs, or building out, you know what I'm saying? Pricing coaching programs, pricing training packages, or building those divisions within staffing agencies. That's another way you can say that. So you're going to really dig deep on and be really specific on what this person looks like. All the companies in the world that I've recruited for, that were recruiting for like what we call a purple squirrel, we're looking for a purple squirrel, like they can now have that. They can literally now have that in an AI agent. It's really crazy. So just keep that in mind. So yeah, that's basically it. Like, this is really what you're going to put together. You're going to do something similar if you have, and we do a little bit differently when you have humans, naturally. But when you have AI agents, these are the things that need to be put together before you do anything. And this is not going to be a short process. This is actually going to be a time-consuming process, because depending on how many agents you have is going to define like how many of these profiles you got to do. You understand what I'm saying? And depending on what your infrastructure looks like. So the first thing that I feel like you should always be thinking about is, okay, what does my company look like? How does it operate? What's the process? I can't get my screen to do this. It's so weird. Okay, right there. How do we, what's our core process, right? That will be the first thing. Like, what does the business landscape look like? What are my lines of business? How does it work? What's the process? You got to know those things first when you're building your business. But I don't care if you legalize it. I don't care. Legalizing it does not mean you have started a business. Just because you legalize the business doesn't mean you started the business. The work that has to be done is creating the infrastructure of the business so that other people can come in and either help expand the business through working for you, or help expand the business via buying from you. And in order for that to happen, you've got to lay down the infrastructure of your business. And it's no different with your AI agents. Okay, so you're going to set the landscape first. Then you're going to go in and create your org chart. Okay, so after you set your landscape of your business, then you're going to go and create your org chart. If you're working with me, you're going to do your org design cheat sheet first. Then the next thing we do is what? The org chart. This is just the way it works. So same thing with your AI agent. You start off with laying your business model out, and then you build out your org chart. Now, if you don't have a very big business model, I would have a very tiny org chart for my AI agents, and like build out my real org chart for my business, for my real business, and then gradually expand your AI agent workforce as you need to. If you are already in business and you're looking to scale, that's totally different, baby. Okay, that's totally different. Then you probably build it a kind of like an enterprise empire. So your org chart is going to look very different. After you complete your org chart, then you're going to go in and you're going to start filling out all of the information for who you're going to hire, like all from that org chart, and what their roles are and what it looks like. And you're not going to just be able to upload it in the chat and then fill it out and then come down. No, you actually have to sit down and think about it. Like, okay, if I want this to be the outcome of the company, this role is designed to do this, and this is the outcome I need this role to have in order for it to be a successful role within my company. and you know that you have really, especially in staffing, you got two parts of your business. Most companies are like this anyway. You've got your internal operations where everything is overhead, and then you've got your service delivery where all of the people working on that side are tied to a dollar amount that actually generates revenue in the company. Okay. And so that your infrastructure is everything. Every employee that you hire is not going to be overhead. Some employees are going to be making money for you. We've got to define who that is step by step. And for all the people that want to rush through that, that's fine. It annoys me. But you can't do that when you're building out an AI infrastructure. I can tell you that. And because you're lazy with it, with your actual team, you'll see the outcome of that as your business evolves. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, you're going to go in and build your stuff out. Once you go in and build your agents out, then if I were you, I would have my agents build out my my lead magnets and stuff like that if they're good enough, if you prompt it really well. If not, then you start building the materials that support whatever is needed there. And then you start working with your agents. But today it was more about letting you see that there's a parallel between how you set up your business and how you set up an AI agent infrastructure. If you are starting a staffing business or you have a staffing business and you're adding AI agents to your business model, I'm not talking about the SaaS software. That's fine. We can have that too. Remember, there are different layers that you can go into. Maybe you have doing a software because you can sell that to your corporate or to corporate easily. But maybe it's you offer AI agents. Maybe it's both. It could be both. I don't know. But offering AI agents, and in some industries, this is going to be easier than others. If you're not offering AI agents, maybe you're setting up that infrastructure to support yourself. So, to be your first assistant, right? To help you get enough off the ground, enough for you to be able to make your first placement and hire, right? So you want to be thinking as a CEO, thinking strategically. How do I get to my goal? How do I get to my goal in an ethical way? How do I get to my goal the fastest, but in the most efficient way? Like, you don't want to skip any steps, right? You really, really, really want to hone in on what you want to build, whether it's for a human team or whether it's for your AI team. I'm just going to tell you, if you're in the staffing space and you're looking for some coaching, you can visit staffingpreneursacademy.com. I would love to help you. If you are building AI teams, I am your girl. Oh my gosh. And I love it. I think I'm going to start building people's AI teams out for them, but I'm teaching it for anybody who wants to learn how to build out their AI team. Actually, because OpenClaw is so new, I've actually been showing the build online, which I think I'm going to continue to do a little bit, because if I'm going to teach people how to do it, there's certain things that I want them to already have in play, like their install. And so we did the VPS install last week. This week, tomorrow, hopefully, I'll be doing the actual CPU. I'm not doing a Mac Mini. A lot of people went and did a Mac Mini. AI told me that I was an overkill and that I really just needed a PC that can do certain things. And so another creator gave me that idea as well. And so I got this little computer. This is how tiny the computer is. It's a mini. And I got it from Micro Center. I'm going to show y'all the video of me going in there shopping for it and everything. And we're going to put that together so that you can at least lay your infrastructure down. If you're someone who's interested in having your own learning language model, once we lay your infrastructure down on here, you can create your own LLM and add it to your computer. And you can have your agent reading from your LLM at certain times and then from the standard ones. And when I say LLM, I'm talking about ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and so forth. So that's going to be very exciting. That's what we're going to do. I have my next AI boot camp is coming up next month in March. So go to unleashyourideas.com to check out my AI boot camp. I would love for you to be there. I'm not supposed, I can't, I got one coaching spot left. I can't, she on the slide too, so I can't say I got any other coaching spots because I'm holding it for her. But you know, if she decided to change her mind, she probably giving me the eye. I have one coaching slot left. But if not, don't worry. I may stick around for a little bit. We'll see. We'll see. But my goal is to get everyone up to speed with AI and up to speed with the agents and with the SaaS technology and with just making money in that way and just getting familiar in that way. We don't really know what the future holds, but if you understand how to do these things, it puts you in a great position. If the environment changes, you know, erratically or what have you, you won't be someone that's left behind. Right. So you remember when we had COVID and it was like everybody was frantic or what have you. Some people weren't frantic. There were many people who lost people and it was a horrible time for them. But there were many people who won during that time that made hundreds and thousands, if not millions of dollars during COVID ethically. You understand? They were on top of it. They were already kind of in that space. Hey, Stephanie. So, you know, what's about to happen with AI, nobody's really taken seriously. And they're not moving. People aren't getting the training. They're not moving fast enough. And what they don't understand is that what happened this last week with OpenClaw changed the freaking game. The way we work is going to change completely. The way we work is going to change completely. And I don't think everybody is ready for it. So I'm not trying to scare you or anything like that. I really am here more to inform you and to help you get into a very proactive state versus staying in a reactive state. The time is now. There's no time for playing. You don't have to open up a staffing agency. You can open up another kind of business. You know, you don't have to, but you do need to learn how to do those agents, or you do need to learn how to play. I don't even want to say play with technology, because like I said, you could just go in the chat and just say da-da-da-da, and that's not even the best version of chat. And the non-paid version ain't even the best version. And most people are not even paying for the AI. So you really want to be able to get in there and understand how to use it to the best of your ability. One more thing, and I'll leave y'all alone. I was talking, my cousin came to visit me for my birthday, and he's the only family that I have on the West Coast. And so I was really, really excited. He came in from Vegas, and I can't remember what he does, but I think he's like a safety inspector or something like that for the large retail stores. And I was like, you know, tell him about the agent. I let him play with the agent or whatever. And he's like, cuz last time I saw you, you told me that I had to figure out how to incorporate AI into the work that I do every day, right? I say, yes. He said, okay, well, I've been doing that. And cuz the AI been completing some of my work for me. And I now know how to do this, that. And I said, now you got to package that and sell it back to the company so you don't lose your job. You got to package that, sell it back to the company so they can train more people on how to do it. You got to, you know, and it just expanded his thought process even more, expanded that thought process even more. Right. And he said, I can see it. I can see how, you know, how to use it and I'm telling you right now that understanding how to incorporate AI into the work that you do, whether it's to help you to build a business and become a billionaire, I don't know, or whether it's to help you help the company you're working for expand, that is the future. That is not even the future. That is now. I encourage you to get into that thing so good. I'm going to be coming here driving y'all batshit crazy. I'm just telling you right now. I am all about AI. I'm cool with staffing. I love staffing. But right now, staffing is AI. I'm telling you right now, staffing is AI. CEOs of large corporations are on Twitter X right now playing with this OpenClaw. And I'm telling you, when they figure this shit out, things are gonna move even faster. And so you got to get on this train. Okay, that's all I was gonna say. I'm fired up. I love y'all. I got so much happening. I'll be back. I love y'all.
Unleash your ideas, no time to wait. Build your dream, don't let it escape. From the vision to the code, from the thought to the sale, you've got the fire. Now set your trail, 'cause empires rise.